My dad said, "You'll never be half the man your brother is." I didn't argue, just quietly bought his mortgage, and now they're both asking me for forgiveness. I, 32 male, grew up being the invisible son. My older brother Marcus, 35, was the golden child, star athlete, popular, could charm anyone. Me, I was the quiet kid who preferred books to parties. Dad never let me forget it. The comparison started young. Report card day was always fun. Marcus gets a C average? He's focusing on football. That's his ticket. I get straight A's? Books won't teach you how to be a man. When Marcus got a football scholarship to State University, Dad threw a party. When I got into an engineering program with academic scholarships, he asked if I was sure I wouldn't rather learn a trade like your brother's planning after football. Marcus blew out his knee sophomore year. Never finished college. Moved back home at 22 and never really left. But somehow, in Dad's eyes, he was still the success story. Marcus was taking time to figure things out, while I was wasting my life behind a desk. The final straw came at Dad's 60th birthday party 5 years ago. I'd just gotten promoted to senior engineer, bought my first house. I was telling my aunt about it when Dad overheard and laughed. Actually laughed. "You hear that, Marcus? Your little brother thinks buying some cookie-cutter house makes him successful." He clapped Marcus on the back. "You'll never be half the man your brother is. Marcus knows what really matters. Family, loyalty, staying close to home." I didn't argue, just smiled and changed the subject. Here's what Dad didn't know. Marcus's loyalty meant mooching off him. Living in the basement at 30, eating his food, using his car. Mom had confided in me that Marcus had been borrowing money for years, always had a business idea that needed funding, always fell through. 2 months ago, I was having lunch with my mentor Garrett, who works in commercial lending. He mentioned a familiar address, Dad's house. Turns out Dad had been refinancing repeatedly, pulling out equity. He was behind on payments. The bank was starting foreclosure proceedings. I asked Garrett for details. Dad owed $180 on a house worth maybe $220. 3 months behind on payments. Bank's looking to offload it, Garrett said. They'd probably take $180K cash just to clear it. I had the money. Software engineering pays well when you live below your means and invest wisely. While Marcus was figuring things out, I was maxing out my 401k and building a portfolio. I made the bank an offer, bought the mortgage for $180K. The bank was happy to avoid foreclosure costs. Dad had no idea. He just got a letter saying his mortgage had been sold to a private investor and to send payments to a new address. A P.O. box I set up. That was 8 weeks ago. I haven't done anything with it yet. Just waiting. Collecting information. See, I hired a PI. Nothing dramatic, just basic surveillance. Wanted to know what Dad and Marcus were really up to. Turns out Marcus has been living larger than I thought. New truck, gambling trips, expensive watches. All while living rent-free in Dad's basement. The PI found something interesting. Marcus had been telling people he was set to inherit everything, that Dad promised him the house, that I was written out of the will for being ungrateful. Last week I got another interesting report. Marcus has been taking out credit cards in Dad's name. 5 so far, all maxed out, about $30 in debt. Dad either doesn't know or doesn't care. I think it's time to have a conversation with dear old Dad about his mortgage, and about who exactly is half the man. We'll update soon. Update 1. Holy hell, this blew up. Thanks for all the support. Some of you called me petty, maybe, but after 32 years of being told I'm worth less than my brother, I think I'm entitled to some pettiness. So, updates. After my post, I sat on things for another week. Then Marcus made his move. I got a call from my mom crying. Marcus had convinced Dad to put him on the deed to the house, said it was just in case something happened, and that it would make it easier for Marcus to help with the bills. Mom knew it was BS, but Dad wouldn't listen. Marcus had been love-bombing him, suddenly helping around the house, talking about his big plans to start a contracting business, how he wanted to secure the family legacy. I knew I had to act. I called Dad and said I wanted to come by, had some financial advice for him. He was suspicious, but agreed. I think he expected me to lecture him about Marcus. I showed up with a folder, just me, him, and Marcus in the living room. Mom was at her book club. I planned it that way. Didn't want her caught in the crossfire. So Dad, I started, pulling out the mortgage documents. Want to explain why you're 3 months behind on your house payments? The color drained from his face. Marcus immediately went on the offensive. What the hell are you doing with Dad's private information? It's not private when it's public record, Marcus. Foreclosure proceedings are public. Dad found his voice. How did you? This is none of your business. Actually, I said, pulling out the deed transfer, it is my business. Literally. I own your mortgage now. The silence was beautiful. Marcus recovered first. Bullshit. I slid the paperwork across the coffee table. Official transfer documents. My LLC listed as the new mortgage holder. You? You bought my mortgage? Dad's voice was small. The bank was gonna foreclose. I stepped in. Marcus exploded. You snake, you've been planning this. This is illegal. Completely legal. Ask any lawyer. Dad was staring at the papers. Why? Because unlike Marcus, I actually have the means to help, but I wanted to see what you'd do first. Imagine my surprise when I found out you added Marcus to the deed last week. That's family business, Marcus shouted. Family business? Like the 5 credit cards you opened in Dad's name? Another beautiful silence. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcus said, but his face told a different story. I pulled out the PI's report, screenshots of credit reports, transaction histories. Marcus at the casino, Marcus at the strip club, Marcus buying a $3,000 watch, $30,000 in debt, Marcus, in Dad's name. Dad grabbed the papers. His hands were shaking. Marcus, tell me this isn't true. He's lying. He's making this up because he's jealous. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Should I call the credit card companies? I'm sure they'd love to hear about fraudulent accounts. Marcus lunged at me, but Dad grabbed his arm. Marcus, did you do this? For the first time in my life, I saw Marcus speechless, no charm, no excuses, just caught. I was going to pay it back, he finally mumbled. With what money? I asked. Your non-existent contracting business? Dad sank into his chair. My own son. Which one? I asked. The one who stole from you or the one who saved your house? Marcus found his voice again. You think you're so much better than me. With your degree and your money, you abandoned this family. I left because I was never part of this family. I was just the disappointment who wouldn't be half the man you are. Dad flinched at his own words thrown back at him. So what now? Marcus demanded. You going to throw us out? Foreclose on your own father? No, I'm going to give you both a choice. I laid out my terms. 1. Marcus has 30 days to move out. 2. The credit cards get transferred to Marcus's name only, or I file a police report. 3. Dad removes Marcus from the deed. 4. Dad starts paying his mortgage on time to my LLC. 5. I'll keep the interest rate the same and won't foreclose as long as payments are made. Or I file fraud charges against Marcus and let the foreclosure proceed as the bank would have. You can't do this, Marcus raged. Dad, tell him he can't do this. But Dad was still staring at the credit reports, at the receipts from casinos, at the truth about his golden boy. Get out, Dad said quietly. Dad? Get out of my house, Marcus. You're taking his side? After everything I've done for you? What have you done? Dad's voice rose. What have you ever done except take and take and take? The argument that followed was epic. 35 years of resentment exploding. Marcus tried every manipulation, guilt, anger, threats, even fake tears. But for once, Dad wasn't buying it. Marcus finally stormed out, but not before turning to me. This isn't over. After he left, Dad and I sat in silence. Finally, I'm sorry. Are you? I saw what I wanted to see. Marcus was like me when I was young. Popular, athletic. You were different, smarter. It scared me. I didn't understand you, so I diminished you. I stood to leave. You've got 30 days to figure out the Marcus situation. My lawyer will be in touch about the deed transfer. Wait, can we talk about this? We just did. Send the mortgage payments to the P.O. box on file. Don't be late. I left him there, looking older than his 65 years. Marcus has been blowing up my phone. Threats, guilt trips, even tried to get other family involved. I've kept all the texts. My lawyer says they're gold if Marcus tries anything. Mom called me crying again, but this time they were different tears. Thank you for finally making him see. The family is divided. Some think I went too far. Others are team about time someone stood up to Marcus. I don't care. For 32 years I've been told I'm not half the man my brother is. Turns out that's true. I'm twice the man he'll ever be. Update 2. Well, the last month has been eventful. First, let me address some comments. Yes, this was petty. Yes, it was calculated. No, I don't regret it. Some of you said I should have just let Dad lose the house and walked away. But here's the thing. I'm not punishing my mom for Dad's blindness. She doesn't deserve to lose her home because her husband is an idiot and her eldest son is a parasite. Now, the update. Remember when Marcus said this isn't over? He meant it. Week 1 after the confrontation, Marcus tried the family route. Called every relative with his sob story. His version? I manipulated Dad into signing over the mortgage through shady business deals, and now I was forcing him onto the streets. Some relatives bought it. I got calls ranging from, "How could you do this to your brother?" to "Family helps family." My favorite was my aunt saying I should be the bigger man. I've been the bigger man for 32 years, I told her. Now I'm being the smarter man. She hung up on me. Week 2. The extinction burst, learned that term from the comments. Thanks Reddit. Marcus showed up at Dad's house with a U-Haul, claiming he was moving out. Instead, he tried to clean out the garage. Tools, lawn equipment, even tried to take Mom's car, claiming Dad promised it to me. Dad called the cops. Marcus played the "I live here, these are my things" card. Cops said it was a civil matter. That's when I played my card. Showed up with my lawyer Bradley and the mortgage documents. "Officer, I'm the mortgage holder. Mr. Marcus here is no longer a welcome guest on my property. He's trespassing. This is my father's house. Actually, your father is a tenant who pays mortgage to my client, and as the mortgage holder, my client has certain rights regarding who can be on the property." The cops made Marcus leave, but not before he keyed my car on the way out. Got it on the doorbell cam. Filed a police report. Week 3. The real escalation. I got a call from my HR department. Someone had sent them an anonymous tip that I was embezzling from the company, that I had used stolen funds to buy my father's mortgage. Yeah, Marcus isn't the brightest. Fortunately, my company takes these accusations seriously, which means a proper investigation, which cleared me completely. Because, surprise, I actually earned my money legally. But it pissed me off. You want to come after my family? Fine. You come after my career? Gloves are off. I called my lawyer. Remember those credit cards Marcus opened? Time to file that fraud report. But first, I called Dad. Marcus just tried to get me fired. I'm filing the fraud charges unless he makes this right. You've got 24 hours to convince him. 20 hours later, Marcus was at my door with Dad. Marcus looked rough. Unshaven, red eyes, clothes wrinkled. Dad looked tired. "What do you want?" Marcus spat. "From you? Nothing. You're nothing to me. But Dad wants to save your ass, so here's the deal. One-time offer. You transfer all the credit card debt to your name. You sign a confession admitting to the fraud. My lawyer will hold it. If you ever come near me, my job or my property again, I file it. You pay Dad $500 a month for the next 5 years for rent owed. You get therapy, real therapy, not some online BS. I want proof of attendance. And if I don't, then I file charges today, with your keyed car video as bonus evidence. That's destruction of property over $1,000. Felony charges, Marcus. You can't prove I keyed your car." I pulled out my phone. Clear video. Marcus's face perfectly visible as he dragged his keys down my hood. "I can't pay $500 a month. I don't have a job." "Then get one. This is extortion." Bradley spoke up. "No, it's a civil agreement. Your choice." Dad finally spoke. "Take the deal, Marcus, please. You're really picking him over me?" "I'm picking the son who didn't steal from me." Marcus signed the papers. Bradley notarized everything. Marcus admitted to the fraud in writing, agreed to the payment plan, agreed to therapy. As they were leaving, Dad lingered. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. You still owe me a mortgage payment. It's due in 6 days. I'll have it. You better." Week 4 last week, the aftermath. Dad made his mortgage payment. On time, first time in 4 months. Marcus got a job, warehouse work. Posted about it on social media like he'd cured cancer. Starting my journey back or some BS. But here's the interesting part. Mom called me. Wanted to have lunch. We met at a quiet place. She looked relieved. "I wanted to thank you." "Mom." "No, let me talk. For 35 years, I've watched your father enable Marcus. Watched Marcus drain us dry. Watched your father ignore your achievements while praising Marcus for breathing. I said nothing because I was keeping the peace. I was wrong." She pulled out an envelope. "This is for you." Inside was a check for $50,000. Mom? What is this? My inheritance from my mother. I've been hiding it from your father and Marcus for 5 years. It was going to be my escape fund if things got worse. But now I don't need to escape. You freed us. I can't take this. You saved our house. You exposed Marcus. You made your father see. Take it. I tried to refuse. She insisted. Said if I didn't take it, she'd just leave it to me in her will anyway. Besides, she smiled, consider it 32 years of birthday and Christmas gifts Marcus got that you didn't. That hit hard, because it was true. Marcus always got more. Better gifts, bigger parties, more attention. Also, she added, I've been documenting everything. Every loan to Marcus, every bill he didn't pay, every time money went missing from my purse. It's all in a notebook. If your father ever wavers, if he ever starts to forget, I'll remind him. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked. About the favoritism. About how it felt to watch one son bleed them dry while the other was pushed away. About regrets and choices. I failed you, she said at the end. I let my desire for peace override my duty as your mother. I'm sorry. I cried, not ashamed to admit it. So that's where we are. Dad's making payments. Marcus is in therapy and working. Mom and I are building something new. The extended family is still divided. Some relatives think I'm Satan. Others have reached out, sharing their own stories of Marcus borrowing money he never repaid, of Dad enabling him, of the unfairness they saw but never addressed. My favorite message was from my cousin. About time someone knocked Marcus off his pedestal. Dude peaked in high school and has been cosplaying success ever since. Dad and I aren't fixed. Maybe we never will be. But he texts me now. Small stuff. Saw your company in the news. Your mom said you got promoted again. Proud of you. That last one hit different. I'm keeping the mortgage for now. Trust but verify, as they say. Maybe in a year or 2 I'll transfer it back. Or maybe I'll keep it until it's paid off, and then sign it over. Haven't decided. What I do know, I'm done being compared to Marcus. Done being less than. Done accepting scraps of approval. I'm not half the man my brother is. I'm a completely different man. A better man. A man who pays his bills, earns his way, and doesn't steal from family. And if that makes me the villain in Marcus's story, good. Final update, last update, promise. Unless Marcus does something spectacularly stupid, which... Actually, let's not jinx it. It's been a month since my last post. Here's where everyone stands. Marcus. He's actually in therapy. I know because the therapist sends confirmation of attendance to Bradley, with Marcus's written consent, part of our agreement. 4 sessions so far. He's kept the warehouse job, even got promoted to shift supervisor last week. Posted about it on social media with actual humility. Not where I thought I'd be at 35, but grateful for the opportunity to rebuild. Plot twist. He's been paying Dad the $500 a month. On time. Bigger plot twist. Mom let slip that Marcus broke down crying in their kitchen last week. Full ugly crying. Apologizing for the credit cards, the mooching, all of it. Said therapy is making him face some hard truths about himself. I'm not ready to forgive and forget, but maybe, just maybe, hitting rock bottom was what he needed. This is the complicated one. He's made every mortgage payment on time, but more than that, he's been trying. He called me last week, asked if I wanted to grab beer and watch the game. I almost said no out of habit, but something in his voice, I went. It was awkward at first. We don't have 32 years of easy conversation to fall back on. But then he started talking. Really talking. About his dad. My grandfather, who died when I was 10. How Grandpa was a high school football star who never made it big. How he pushed Dad into sports. How Dad felt like a failure when he didn't make it past college ball. When Marcus showed that same talent, I saw my chance to get it right, to be the father mine wanted to be. I got so focused on that, I forgot I had 2 sons. He talked about fear, how my intelligence scared him, how he felt stupid when I talked about engineering, how it was easier to dismiss it than admit he didn't understand his own son. Every time you succeeded, it reminded me of how I failed, so I made you the failure in my head, made Marcus the success. It was easier than admitting I was jealous of my own kid. We watched the game, had 3 beers. He asked about my job, actually listened when I explained what I do. Asked follow-up questions. When I left, he hugged me. First real hug in maybe 15 years. I know I can't undo 32 years, he said. But maybe we can do better for the next 32? I'm not ready to play happy families, but maybe we can work towards something. Mom, she's thriving, started volunteering at the library, took over the household finances completely, set up a separate account Marcus can't touch. She also started therapy. If Marcus can face his demons, so can I, she said. We have lunch every week now, it's nice. Me, I've been thinking a lot about what this whole thing means. Some comments called me cruel. Others said I did what needed doing. Truth? I think I was both. Was buying the mortgage petty? Absolutely. Was it necessary? For me, yeah. I spent 32 years accepting less love, less attention, less respect. I internalized it. Even with my success, part of me still believed I wasn't half the man Marcus was. This whole thing wasn't really about the mortgage. It was about power, about taking control of my narrative, about forcing everyone, including myself, to see the truth. Marcus wasn't a better man. He was just a louder one. Dad wasn't protecting family values, he was protecting his ego. And me? I wasn't the lesser son. I was the one who got away. My therapist, yeah, I started going too, everyone else was doing it, said something that stuck. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's forcing people to see themselves clearly. That's what this was. Holding up a mirror. Yesterday I made a decision. I had Bradley draw up papers, not to forgive the mortgage. Dad still needs to pay that, but to set terms for eventual transfer. If Dad makes every payment on time for 2 years, I'll sell the mortgage back to him for $1. He'll have earned it. If Marcus stays in therapy and keeps paying his rent for those same 2 years, I'll give him the $30K he paid Dad, his credit card debt amount, as a fresh start fund. I told them both separately. Dad cried. Marcus said, I don't deserve that, which might be the most mature thing he's ever said. No, I agreed, but you have the chance to earn it. The family has mostly moved on to other drama. My cousin who supported me, she's getting divorced. That's the new hot gossip. Some relatives still think I'm an AH, that's fine. They also think Marcus was justified in his mooching, so their judgment is suspect. The important people get it. Mom, my close cousins, my chosen family, friends who've watched this unfold for years. And somewhere along the way, I let go of the anger. Not completely. That'll take time. But enough. I'm not half the man my brother is. I'm me. An engineer, a son who saved his parents' house, a brother who forced his sibling to grow up. A man who refused to be diminished anymore. That's enough. Thanks for following this journey, Reddit. It's been something. Oh, and to those who messaged asking for updates if Marcus screws up again, I really hope there won't be any, for all our sakes. But I kept the doorbell cam, just in case. Edit. Since some of you asked, yes, this is real. No, I won't provide proof that would identify my family. Yes, therapy is worth it even if your family isn't imploding. And no, I don't recommend buying your parents' mortgage as a revenge tactic. This could have gone very differently. I got lucky that everyone eventually chose growth over destruction. Your mileage may vary. Also, to the person who said this reads like a Lifetime movie, Mom said the same thing. She's threatened to write a book. I told her to change the names. Final edit. Marcus texted me last night. Just said, thank you for not giving up on me. I'll earn it. Maybe there's hope for us yet.